Hello, 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 folks. This is Mohammed Shillon coming to una from the state of North Carolina, USA. With me is my co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot, who is by now no stranger to anyone, but he's going to introduce himself. Today is March 26th, Sunday, March 26th, 2023. Hello to una all, wherever una in the world, Sierra Leone, any other country. This is a live show. As with the broadcast, people are hearing us, or people in the area, then they also can call in live. I will give you the numbers them soon. And we're also carried on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So when I can follow broadcast, na them media then there. So now the regular give information where I can give to you and just reminder. Number one, let me start up with the phone numbers then. We get a toll-free number of 1-866-944-7722. 1-866-944-7722. Then we get a UK number. If you call from the United Kingdom, England, and place there. And plus 44 208089 1455. Again, if you call from the UK, now plus 44 208089 1455. If you call from Australia, the number could be plus 61 2909 84 337. From Australia, plus 61 2909 84 337. And we also get a WhatsApp number. So if you're within the United States and they call on WhatsApp, the number could be 1-343-997-5828. 1-343-997-5828. So with their numbers here, a lot of fun will be able to call in and make a contribution in the form of a question, or make contributions in the form of questions, statements, honor your analysis, in which you can express objective and independent analysis, or state your own position. You don't have to agree with anything we say. The only thing we always ask of, that you become respectful. If you call in or send in a commentary or questions, let it be respectful to the host and to other callers or listeners. Let us just show respect for each other and to each other. Other than that, people are not bound by our opinion. We just try to bring to light some of the information, what we think say necessary for make which we call informed opinion. So we try for just bring as many facts or as much facts as we possibly can. At this point, I will turn it over to my co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot. He will introduce himself to una, and then we will move forward.
Well, family, I mean, a good evening, good afternoon, good day, whosoever is in the world. Me and Victor Akumengot, and I join my colleague here, Mohammed Shillon, we're now a legal luminary. Because this issue we can discuss, there are two key parts of it. There's a legal part of it we can go deal with. Then we will look at the issue to do with project planning, management, and appraisal, where I think say, okay, we have much pandan this small, because get a background in dealing with planning, land use planning, building permits, and those sort of things gained from working in local authority in the UK. So our web will have much banana small. The web will look at how this project be handled waiting, the information we'll get forgets concerning the building, because we see them go inspect the building. Why they go inspect the building? What were they looking for? We go ask questions and we go want in our own input. So we hope say the show will be interactive. And as Miko say, let's be respectful. Let's challenge with facts or comment or ask questions with mutual respect. So over to the lead co-host.
Thank you very much, Victor. Just what Mr. Mengo just mentioned, I want to make we understand. Say we normally like to touch on what we call trending things in the country, things where they take place now with a lot of emotions, sometimes with political overtones. And sometimes I just want to remind everybody, it's easy for world for say, well, I don't like politics. There, you're not going to like politics for talk politics. Because in this day and age, whether you are in the United States, Canada, Australia, England, Germany, no matter where you are, Turkey, Sierra Leone, our lives are governed and controlled by politics and politicians most of the time. So you are not doing yourself a disfavor by saying if you get involved in politics, they contribute to a negative aspect of we coexistence. Nor are you doing yourself a favor if you think the other way around. So we're all there in politics, one way or the other, a matter of degree as to what degree we want to get involved. But some of the main trending issue of late in the country is this trial going on with Dr. Samura Kamara. I refer to him as Dr. Samura Kamara because he's being referred to as such. So I will just go with the flow. So the trial of Dr. Samura Kamara, who is the presumptive presidential nominee for run against President Bio in the upcoming election this year. And he represents the APC, which at the moment is the largest of the political parties or opposition political parties. So there is what's going on for Una to keep up with what's going to happen. We are not blaming her because life is difficult enough. So, rarely get the time for really listen to what's going to go on or keep up with what's going to go on. There is some accusation against Dr. Samura Kamara and some others. So I could just say Samura Kamara and others, that there was a place like an embassy-like property that was to have been built in New York, then called on the Chancery for Sierra Leone in New York. And I think this project starts all the way back when the APC was in power. Somewhere down the line, things get confusing. Most of the structure or this thing waiting for build or this house or this building are left incomplete, not done. And so because, like everybody will know anything about housing. Also, if you left them by itself, nobody know they not to take care of them. It tends to go down, for deteriorate. So that's what begin to happen to the place. And it's an eyesore, meaning it spoils the beauty of the neighborhood where this Chancery day. So then it become an issue that millions of dollars, I think all or some of which were given or procured from the Korean government, their allegation
Chinese.
is that the Chinese government, I'm sorry, that the allegation is that some or most of the money, they don't divert them. The money not done, the building not complete, and the building to go downhill. So, but this don't happen for years now. It began to take place during APC, then time it reached to an end. It all happened all through the 4.5 or more years of President Bio or the SFPP then rule. But now, all of a sudden, the government or the ACC commissioner decides to bring a criminal charge against Dr. Samura and a group of other people, holding them accountable and charging them with fraud, misappropriation of funds, diversion, of funds and all of that. Of course, Dr. Samura Kamara, the claims say he's innocent, which is the right given to everybody, not only Dr. Samura Kamara, but the legal system in Sierra Leone is based on the British common law. That British common law, they give everybody accused of a crime the presumption of innocence. You presume to be innocent until the state where they accuse you of that misappropriation there or that wrongdoing there or that crime there, prove their case against you when they accuse. So if we look at it purely from that standpoint, and this is an analysis I want to make, rising consistent with me own belief above political party politics. Because most people who've been listening to me over the period know how I stand with respect to APC and SFPP. I see them the same. I treat them the same. I think they are both incompetent parties. I think they will do nothing good for Sierra Leone. They both have extensive record. If record mean anything, we will forget to go back 60 some years of independence. We don't get APC, we don't get SFPP, we don't rule we. Nobody go raise your hand and brag, say either one of them country take we forward. I mean, them parties take we forward since independence. Everything we inherit from the white people, I like to say the white people instead of the colonizers them. And I say that deliberately because sometimes it's a reflection on we black people about with selfishness, with greed, and sometimes where we did confirm these suspicions that we as black people, no matter how educated we are, we tend to be of some inferior intellect because we want to conduct ourselves accordingly. Okay, so people that know me in position on that. I don't speak for APC or SFPP. I don't speak. I just go where the facts lead me. But this is the case. So they bring this case this last moment after all these years against Samura Kamara and some others. So we see, say, there are two concerns to me that I have been raising. One concern, now jury trial, na Sierra Leone, and which at the moment is the case, this particular case against Samura Kamara is being tried in front of a judge, Judge Fisher, alone. Usually they go refer to it as bench trial or trial by judge alone. Then of late, it looks like that's a trend in Sierra Leone. There are other very important cases that have been tried before other judges them alone. So it makes me begin to wonder if who decides what case can be tried before the judge alone and what case cannot be, and who exercises that right. So if we begin for question, holistically, meaning all over, the rightness or the correctness for if you are accused of a crime, which is a crime you've been accused of by the state, Not by the people who accuse you who work for the state. Now the state versus you. Whether or not the very state where they accuse you forget the power for choose in what manner you should be tried and before whom. When we get a very rich pedigree of, legal pedigree of the British common law, by which jury trial is not only a preeminent right, it's a fundamental right. So how have we managed where some of them trials here are being done by judges alone? If in fact it is true that the defendant and they waive their right to a jury trial, it makes me, Mohammed Shillon, wonder the quality of lawyering would it take place in Sierra Leone. Why will any defense attorney who knows anything about criminal trial would choose for waive jury trial and go before a judge alone? Now, it happens. Even in this country, it happens. In England, it happens. But usually in the United States, this is a right reserved for the accused. Now, you no more go waive that right there. For say, I want to let the judge try. I don't want jury trial. I don't want to be tried by my peers. Then I just want the judge. I trust the judge. I trust say he will do the right thing. And ordinarily, when you get a bench trial as such, technically speaking, you are being tried. The judge they play what you would call a dual role, two roles. He's sitting as a court, but he's also sitting as a jury, not a juror and one person in a group of jurors. But the judge sits as a one-person team of a jury. So now the judge listening to the case, they wear two caps. One as a judge, which primarily deal with legal matters, then the other one as a jury. So again, for be able for, because when a judge taking job seriously and he understand a role by trial by judge alone, he get two functions. He's sitting as a jury and he's sitting as a judge alone. And as a jury, he's there as a jury of 12 or of 10 will have sat down listening to the case, which means facts matter. Reasonable, which is another major element of the common law, where we inherit, is important. Presumption of innocence is important. So, but most of the cases then what we see the come of late before the system in Sierra Leone, a good many of them have political overtone. If they have political overtone, I wonder why would any concern, diligent defense attorney choose not forget a jury trial. On the other hand, if the defendant don't get the right for exercise for a jury trial and the judge, they exercise that, I think that is fundamentally wrong. That is a gross violation of fundamental fairness. It should not be a judge or the court in call whether one should be tried by a jury. And if that's the way it is, and in fact, I try for such a constitution, there is reference to a jury trial, but shockingly, it doesn't seem, as fundamental as that right today is, it doesn't seem like that's a fundamental right in the Constitution, which it must be, and which it should be, it must be, if we want for uplift the standard of advocacy or justice in our country. Because I can guarantee you guys, I in my early years, I've been a lawyer 46, this is my 47th year. practicing attorney, and I still actively practice, but I don't do as many criminal work. In fact, I don't do criminal work as I used to when I was a young lawyer for the first 15 to 20 years. Okay? Now, statistically, there is no statistical evidence that I know of. And again, every time I make a broad statement here, I would like for someone who knows something to the contrary to disagree with me and try to educate the rest of us that I'm wrong and here is the way things are. So my position here is, but what you need to know so far, the Constitution not specifically spelled out the right to a jury trial as we get, like when the Constitution say there shall be what you call, the word just can't escape me. It just escaped me, believe it or not. But there shall be census. Okay, there shall be census. The Constitution specified, say, every 10 years there shall be census taken. Although they modeled down, but another deal with that aspect, but they didn't have the Constitution. Why is it that we don't have in the Constitution such fundamental right as the right to a jury trial, that everyone is entitled to it and cannot be waived by anyone else other than the one accused of a crime? It doesn't seem like it's so written in our Constitution. And I think that's dangerous. It enables, because I keep reminding people, a constitution fundamentally or primarily not to control the actions of individuals, is to restrain the excesses of government. That's why you get a country's constitution. Constitution generally they talk about what government can do and the limitation of their power. We, the citizens, are controlled by what you want in Australian when I say act, but we're controlled by statutory laws passed by parliament. Like, for speed past 30 miles an hour on a certain street, that, for to a stone at somebody in horse and broke, that, for assault somebody. These are all statutory restrictions on with daily activities. Okay? And then restrictions therefore fall within the purview of the Constitution. But what we've done as Australia, we don't mix up Constitution and statutory law. There are things in the Constitution that do not belong there, and there are things out of the Constitution that must be there. So either we begin to work on that, or we will continue this trend of getting situations like the Samura Kamara or the Kamarimba kind of situation, or the LAJ situation, and we will continue to forget that, because the foundation upon which we legal system for run is not solidly based, So, and lawyers are trying to practice law the way the law is, which is good. But you also get to challenge the law sometimes when it doesn't seem right. Let me not forget, say, I live in a country where, when I was growing up in the 60s, black people were deprived of so many rights in America. Everything was separate and equal, or a lot of stuff. Let me not forget, say, the case of Brown versus the Board of Education was only decided in 1954. We give people them and the right for go to any school they choose, regardless of their race. Before then, it was the law that people could discriminate. There was another case called Loving v. Virginia, when a white man married a black woman. There were laws saying white cannot marry black. That's what the law. So I want to let people understand the law not always correct. Just because the law doesn't make it right. So when the law is there, this legal profession, what once used to be referred to as a noble profession, steps in and begin to challenge the unjustness, the injustice of then kind of laws then there. So I think back home, the concept is, oh, now Parliament passed the law, so it must be right. No, it's not. That's why we get a constitution where it even puts restrictions and boundaries on Parliament. Parliament don't get the right for just pass any law just because in a Parliament. The constitution puts restrictions on everyone. So if we begin to understand with fundamentals and the role of government, then we will begin to realize how dangerous the sloppy slope we are now. We will not pass law because of the good of the country, we will pass law for victimize political opponents. We will pass law for punish or deprive political opponents of opportunities. And this go way back. This is nothing new. This go way back from Albert Maga in Tem. You know, Sir Albert made a lot of missteps, deliberate missteps, which unfortunately for him, but fortunately for the country, to some degree, he was not able to implement. He had the one-party system idea that he wanted to introduce. You know, Sir Albert began for involuntarily retire people. And some of these people were people of a particular tribe. Having them replaced, not by equally competent people, but for purposes of convenience. And unfortunately, for after I do all that today, can't be prime minister for long. There comes the Stephen government. Let's leave aside the intervening period of the army. Okay? But see what happened. So Stephen's come, and again, I like that we understand. There's a very well-educated friend of mine who is an engineer down there in North Carolina. When I once tell and say, not ever, ever trust a politician. I don't care if now your brother, now your papa, now your, because the reason why you can't trust politicians, they may have the best of intentions. Not to all promise what they make, na lie then they lie. They mean what they say at the time when they make them promise here, a lot of them. But when they get into power, it's a complete change of circumstance. Complete change. It does sound like where you say, oh, where you then land, you say, I go run fast. But if I go on that water there, I go do the same thing. No. Because when you then start that water there, you not get speed, you not get solid ground for starting on. So when you're there outside, it's easy for talk about all them lofty goals. But when you get the power, that's the real test of you, because then there are temptations coming at you from all directions, temptations you never had. So the true you, they begin for sure. Not what you be the say. Oh. Now America will get what you say. You can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? But what you would see in Australia, most of the politicians, they are good at talking the talk, but they are terrible, at walking the walk. So when Pashaki kind of power, all the thing we oppose of Alba Magai, it go as far as killing some of your own supporters, your minister like Ibrahim Chaki, Dr. Fona them, who are opposed for him for adopt Alba Magai in oppressive policies them. They say, partner to this will make we join you. Because of that, some of these people were framed, some of these people were hanged. This is not part of our history. Anybody is free to challenge me on that. But these are facts. We had Governor General, and Governor of the Bank of Australia, who lost his life because he was opposed to a president having such easy access to a Minister of Finance to the central bank. But succeeding governments did nothing about changing the structure. You can see the danger. It's like if you get a man where now one eye get and the one eye get cataract, You know, this is too good with that one idea. It's a matter of time. And you don't get to be a mercy man for no say you go crash the motor car with the drive. Because in vision so blurred that it's a matter of time. So when Pashaki came up with that thing, a lot of us knew that it's a matter of time. So, and no succeeding government come and try to correct some of them fundamental flaws here of the system. Instead, we continue government after government after government, thus they erode or undermine the foundation with the which people and left Giwi. So this is where we are now. You see? So anybody who want to ignore history, we will continue the mistake here until we begin to treat things them the way they are. So now we get a situation where the police not even know their job description anymore. This goes way back. You see? Where the police think say they work for the political party in power. For all I know, the police are civil servants. Their job should be as neutral as anybody where they work in a government. But this is where we are. So I'm bringing all them here up. So as we approach this elections, everybody, they hold their hand, their heart in their hand. They wonder what might happen. If we're serious at letting the system work and respect the fundamental human right of one man, one vote, I think things will go well. They will not forget, since Sierra Leone was the premier country. Sierra Leone was the shiny city on the hill. Once upon a time in sub-Sahara Africa. We can't lose sight of that. So when today we want to just sweep all with great achievement under the rug and pretend like we say, it's politics as usual. No, it's not. We've lost so much, and we continue to do that because we not get any regard for history and we not get any pride for regain what we would have lost. So that said, this leads me to the Fisher case, or I say the Fisher case, the Samura Kamara case, which I intend to analyze a little bit down the line because there are so many things I want to bring out in terms of I question the necessity of the trip to New York by the court. I have a lot of questions with respect to procedure of the trial. And again, I hope Mr. Ben Kelfala, Justice Fisher, other court officials are hearing me and can call and try to educate me and tells me, say, Mr. Shilon, you're wrong. This is that. But I get some observation which I think can, and just suggestions, as a dedicated patriotic. I have lived in the United States over 50 years. I still haven't lost my passion for my country. I'm not trying to go run for any office, but I think America has given me so much that I could disseminate to my country if some of them will listen. So don't forget, say, I belong to one of the best legal systems in the world. Comparatively speaking, now you compare the legal system in America to that of Sierra Leone, it's like comparing a 3-year-old Peking with a big man for run race. I mean, I belong to the best of the best. America didn't get where it is by accident. Now, talent bring America where it is, and they are good at everything. I mean, a part of that group there. So I just try to elevate our own country to as high as it once was, or to as high as we can get it. I have no apology to make with respect to that. All right? So people like me on book, not to that piece of paper, waiting at the wall, because there are some diplomas that are not even worth the paper they're written on. Mayor book na practical book. Practical education. You know? So I always get the utmost confidence that I have a whole lot to contribute to my country. That said, I don't want to dominate the process because I get a co-host who will give some other perspective. Then I will go back to and continue where I was. I think there are some videos to be played, but the sequence, it will be done sequentially when the technical room is instructed to do so. So, Mr. Mengot, I hand it back to you.
Well, thank you very much for the history lesson. I think this issue, I'll go back to basics. Was the visit by the courts to the Chancery building necessary? Now that we'll look at. And also, some people in there where this thing are like a Pandora box. When you remove something, another thing come out. So how did this case come about? It came about because another Sierra Leonean who has over the years consistently been published about governance and abuse of political power raised these points where it came to the attention of the government and the Anti-Corruption Commissioner. So for set the pace, if the technical team can play the man in observation and findings and history, then they go give a chance to analyze the case and then consider the question whether this visit was necessary. Technical team here.
Okay, Fambulem, I want me to look across that building at the sea. We get number 245 East 49th Street. So you get the Empire Group signboard. When I watch and find, show them and say and clear one. This is not the New York Chancery building, the famous New York Chancery building, where Mother Bio and in officials the Minister of Foreign Affairs transferred in 2019 over $4.6 million for renovate this building. Show them and see. When I see you the next day, take hand at the embassy building this. I mean the diplomatic mission this in New York. Now ambassador and all the diplomatic officials who represent the United Nations are here supposed for day. Now they don't move now. And I want to show and say the status of this building as it is so now, it don't start any other time, but now between 2020 to 2021, then they commence this construction will not complete. And I remind you again, the money as will be reported at the African Express, now been over $4.6 million where the government transfer for make this building from Freetown. When the building no 30 days. Now see I money don't go, building no 30 days. They don't be left on last time we been kaya about 2 years ago. Now so the building stopped. We report about this story in May 2021. Now we did into October. Today now October when I did today October 9. Sunday, October 9, after I see the building, I can come make you see. But tell you I say this is telling now, the embassy people every day now, they don't move. Instead of them trying to renovate this building and finish and do this one. They don't move. We moved to 336 East 45th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue. So right now I renting the rent that the Ugandan building. I didn't go rent at the 6th floor. Then they pay rent. We embassy building we not take nearly $5 million for car renovate in 2019. Then they transfer the money where Ali Kabari and the foreign minister and Kai, they all have been in charge of this. Up to now, the building has been there when they move. Can we show that the building permit? For telling us say this construction, you see, these are the New York City, the building permit, the work permit. When I don't say any building, if I take permit for them. Now, you see the permit, look at the permit number, look the time when they issue this permit here. The permit that be issued for February 11, 2021. The permit for expire October 11, 2021. That will tell you say this building for be done complete since 2021. So this they tell you say this scandal na mother build and creator. If it be saying that when we start under APC time, how come the permit for the construction of this building They only take February 11, 2021, and it will be expire October 11, 2021. Come close. You see the contractor that we take, David Montiz. So basically, what we can find out, say the permit where they give them in 2021, the permit don't expire, the contractor not carry on the building, not because the contractor say they not pay up. Now, you see now, and the purpose of the permit was an application filed to renovate 4-story building with rear extension of 2nd, 3rd, and add 4th and 5th floor. Again, as I see this permit, the permit have been issued February 11, 2021. They look now, they're not, where they can put this tier, go be a minute, able to say I'm fine. Where they can put this tier, they make like say they put this scaffolding, they make like say they continue the building, they able to do it. The New York government says this is a problem. And they stop the work. They issue a stop work order. And the stop work order was issued on the 4th of August 2021. That would have been in a power 4th of August 2021. Na mother view. 4th of August. 30 days they got the left hand so. You see now? Even here, you see now again. 4th April 29, 2022. Then a few months ago, they still tell them, say, we could not gain appropriate access to your water meters. So even now, say we get water bill, water rate for pay. The water rate business force they get that for pay. Even with the building this, so nobody know it. They get debt for pay now. Yeah, you see? These are the New York Environmental Protection Agency. Now they don't come put now. So this building as it is so. Now big trouble. Now already see. These are the building this way man building take $5 million. Now the building the construction project when they put some money on the cost. And as I say, we have already see the evidence of the. This nobody put out that the New York City, the New York State government, the New York City, the Department of Buildings. Come. Now even the buildings have not become now advertisement. You see the advertisement now. We don't talk about like a dirty box. Now people the name people will maybe they have show. I think these are two-door cinema. These are film business now. They advertise. They use the building now to advertise all kind. This, can you imagine? Instead of the time of fix this, they play politics with the whole thing. The people who thief the money, we don't put the status of this building, don't transfer. Now they don't serve as witnesses against people who don't know nothing about this. How can this waste at 2021? This problem waste at 2021?
Okay.
Of safety and also the presence of the witness. In the absence of any other objection, I would respectfully request that we proceed with the local proceedings. There's a ruling? Yes, there's a ruling. His Lordship commented. You were there when the names of persons who were supposed to be in New York were agreed and declared by the judge. You could have raised the objection in Freetown. And that is why we made sure we said we will take care of any person who wishes to be paid for. Had you known that you wanted to speak with Mr. Bokari here and his name was not included by the judge, you could have raised it in Freetown. You did not. We are now in New York and you want to say Mr. Bokari should be here when you sat in court and did not do that. The law does not work like that.
Respectfully, my lord, that is exactly what you are trying to do. The way the law works is not what you are, with respect, putting before the court. Mr. Bokari was a witness of the court.
Yes, he was.
Mr. Bokari did not only testify, he was also cross-examined on documents that on 2 occasions he submitted to the court.
Yes.
It is the court that has mandated and ordered this locus.
Yes.
So it is the court that is, present here to conduct an inspection of this building.
Yes.
It is only an engineer, an expert, who has presented reports to this court in our estimation that can speak to those documents. So for us to come here and then you say we ought to have presented to the court names of people who ought to come and examine the building, with all respect, sir, in our estimation, that is not the requirements of the defense, neither the prosecution. Mr. Bokari was a witness of the court. It is the court that ordered the locus, and it is the court that should direct as to how we go about.
But Mr. Bokari was discharged as a witness. He is under no obligation to discharge to the court after he was discharged by the court. And when the names of persons who were supposed to be here were named, you were in that meeting. You were in that conference. You could have raised for him to be recalled.
Supposed to be here. Mr. Bokari is the expert. Are you saying
no,
that?
He was a witness. He's not the expert.
Oh, he was not.
The court could have requested an expert. ACC could have prevented. He was a witness.
For the
He was a witness brought by the prosecution. He was not an expert.
In any case, my lord, we have made our case that is what the instructions of the client are, and in a situation of this nature, I think the court ought to make a ruling on that.
My lord,
Have you said so?
we've not stated the position of
the issue is a very simple issue. This is a court visit, court no court.
Okay.
Is that it? Is that the end of it? Mr. Mengo, can I cut in front of you briefly, if you can just hold tight, because I noticed one or two exchanges between the lawyers that I just need to make an observation of. Okay? Just for clarity, it seems the argument between the two lawyers, I think Pamomo Fofana and Ben Kelfala, I think Ben Kelfala has the better of the argument for a variety of reasons. This is where trial technique, trial tactic, trial efficiency comes into play. Ben Kelfala is right that if Pamomo Fofana knew he needed the testimony of this gentleman they are talking about, he should have so stated on the record that he may need him. So when the courts, I presume, openly discharge this man and say you're free to go, Pamomo should have raised an objection, say, we might need him. We don't want him to go. And if he was overruled by the court and the court insists on dismissing him, then he will have had a better argument. But it seems like Ben Kefala say, all of us were there. The judge released him. No objection was raised. We're here thousands of miles away from the actual courthouse. Now you're saying this man should have been here. Says who? After the court had released this man, and you were there. It wasn't that the man was released in your absence. The only thing I don't understand about Ben and Pamomo, the exchange, they're trying to make a difference between an expert and a witness. Well, I don't get it. You can be an expert witness. So was he an expert? And was he an expert witness? Which it could have been both. But Ben, I just heard Ben Califata saying he was not an expert, he was a witness. Was he an expert witness, which he could have been? Indications are that the man was an expert witness. You know, probably was called by the court to lend some technical clarity on the whole issue. So I just want to just bring up that point there, the exchange between the two lawyers, them, you know, and I think from a procedural standpoint, I think Ben Kelfana has the better of the argument. So I yield to you, sir, Mr. Mengot. Sorry, you can take it from there.
From your point of view and from what I get from the case, let's start from the argument whether Imam was a witness or an expert.
It could have been both.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, Mr. Bokari is somebody who gets some technical knowledge of building. And since the very Ben Kenfala, when he began doing the investigation, brought in Mr. Bokari for go examine the building before to court. If I could remember, there was an objection as to the quality of the report. So he went for a second time and do the report. So in that case, as you rightfully say, he is an expert witness. He's not employed at the embassy, but brought in to provide technical knowledge. And let's put it this way, even if he has been dismissed from the case, and dismissed from what I understand, the donkey evidence done, they don't need him again.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Again, the mistake on the part of the defense,
there you go,
in my own view, yeah, not mention Mr. Bokari. What they should have done, there are people who are involved in this whole saga who are in America. Once the defense lawyer could have done, which the court they could not have objected to.
Mr. Mengot, can you hold your thoughts? Let's answer a call. Please don't forget, make a note of it, please. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where say the call from?
Yeah, this now Mustafa. They call from France.
Hello, Mustafa. Thanks for calling.
Thank you for this program. I know na precious time the owner really they give for come and debate on waiting the happen in our country. And some of we will not go book or for say we no pen. But waiting the happen in our country is so hard trending. I forget the name of this other man, but Mr. Shilon.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mengot,
a lawyer.
The other man. Mr. Mengot, the other man.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes sense for let them talk all the kabudu then they use we country money for go inspect a building where be non-pan and other they when are experts. When a building experts. I don't know if it make any sense or maybe not chilling and go pa. Because me not go see when I think that when you either you go produce competent somebody when a building experts, when they go and go assess the building, they go no almost don't go inside there or waiting lack. Then go take lawyers and go team up, they argue disgraceful one before people left when not even make no sense. So political gimmick and game nine and they play. Don't then they cry say hardship then at the wall, but then the West Pin money becoming a West Me series. As a court, what do you judge they go do? Now you walk, what you sabi about building? I mean now people away get the know-how, where sabi and then forgo they. Then count their reports. I don't know, but it's so hard trending. You know, this we country people like oh, we don't do bad today. We don't exist, we don't do bad. Now the suffer would they suffer so. In fact, not to win no more now. Would they make a worst for we picking there, we grand picking them tomorrow. We give make a worst for them. Instead of we defect for reconcile, we fight war all. People away fight war, at least the mentality them for the change now and do things. But we just do the worst no more. We selfish, greedy, wicked. We never ever look something say this not fine for the country. As long as when I'm a party they in power, even when they do something very bad, we go just stay behind them no more. They rally, they dance to the tune. The bad way then they do, they make a like for saying are good. But one thing we all for realize, if you will reach 70 years, bruh, you try all. Because we all they die very shortly, 30 something, 40 something. You don't die. What you do now this world, now they go meet you now your grave. If we left for picking them, we can picking them for suffer. How this country they go so they like today. That's where they meet you now with grave. Because we all get for that, we know they live now forever. You they get money with everything you get, now they left farm. But if finally left good record, good things them, look, this particular judge look somebody, he get 9 good years with no evidence. Anyway, the time done. Let God guide them, protect now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll go comment to what you say. Mr. My co-host, they try for educate we on some of the procedures them when it comes to construction, building construction, and all of that. So, Mr. Mangot, I yield the floor to you again to continue, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I'm commenting on this exchange. And when Mr. Ben Kelfala, now in video I go, where they say, this man, not an expert, now witness. Witness, if you get to be witness.
But it's a contradiction in terms. It's a contradiction in terms.
Huh? Yeah, it can only be witness if he was a party to either things to do with procurement, project management, or contracts, compliance, and everything. It was neither. As far as we know, he was somebody brought in to give an opinion of the status of the building, which was part of the case that the SEC commissioner was building up. Right? So that's the clarity. Then now look at this way. The SEC commissioner also say, now the judge, now he name the people them where for go na New York. As far as I'm concerned, I listened to the judge in verdict. Let's take it from the point of view that the judge was dealing with a 48-count charge. 48-count charge. I will likely comment on that. And if the judge be the deliberate on 48-count charge, they get 5 accused. Not to all of the accused them, then charge that 48-count charge. So what happened was at the time when I listened to the judge, the defense lawyers, especially the one dealing with Dr. Samoa Kamara, make a no-case submission. No-case submission, which means the prosecution not provide irrefutable evidence for, say, this man was guilty as charged. So in his ruling, he actually referred to one of the accused. I think he was the first or second accused. When the lawyer asked, when he said they forgo New York, the lawyer asked why they forgo New York. And the judge replied, say, whether in jest or the commentary he make, people that can verify that and listen to that vividly, he's saying that the government side claimed that the building was 90% complete. But we'll go to that later on. We'll look at Mr. Cheno, but Ion Odiowo and we'll analyze. So he said even they do a favor to the defense. Is the judge's role to do favor to the defense? If they go there, they go prove, say, the status of the building where the government claimed for being not right, he's likely to dismiss the case or get the prosecution for reopening case. So you can say even the judge self was dithering. So that the basis on which they go New York, we say, come back to a question, was this visit necessary? But then, Dr. Samoa Kamara was charged, out of the 48 counts, was charged on 2 counts. One, misleading a principal and 2, misappropriation of public funds. But we'll go to that later. But the point is, my own point where they make, the defense also, when you deal with that kind of thing and they on uncertainty, you have to be smart. And Ben Kefara throw that like a jab. The defense would have said, okay, if we are going to look at the status of the building, we would want to bring an independent structural or building engineer for a report. The next thing we will not see there, this project was given to a construction firm where they may mention. In all this deliberation, there was not a single representative of the construction firm. Because had they been there, they would have thrown a light of why the building not continue, the building works not continue, waiting at the obstacle, almost money they not receive, from whom and at what time. So that's my own concern. And then in a part of planning and project management appraisal. So I left and day for see if you will comment before we continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Mengot. Yeah, well, this case, we does try for analyze them. There are a lot of flaws in this case. Plenty problem with the case. We just see Chernobyl in vivid presentation of the building and the dilapidated condition, as well as other objects of like construction fixtures. Now the building, and then they point out to certain documents, New York City Housing Authority postings them within the building. You just make a very important point. But at this point, it's kind of hard for assess what, because if you're a trial lawyer, the one thing we need back home, we need for trained lawyers them who can try cases. Being just clever, coming first in a class, not give you the necessary training for try a lawyer, a case efficiently. You forget technique. A trial lawyer is like a street fighter. You get for be very astute, know when for run, know when for dodge, know when for punch, and know when for counter punch. Because in a courtroom, it's a bout. B-O-U-T, it's a fight in a courtroom. You know to go to the ring for go challenge somebody just because you get trained. If the other person gets skilled, it will beat you. So if you're not clever guy, now you be to take 100 now your class, na college, na law school, you think say that equip you enough for go try cases, you go lose. Because the skill set in the courtroom is different. Completely different. To begin with, to be a good courtroom lawyer, although we're not to see a demonstration of that much in Sierra Leone, you get for understand procedure, the rules of procedure, both civil and criminal procedures. You get for understand the rules. You get for know when these rules are applicable. You get for be able to know when to make timely objections. You get for know when you for preserve your objections for purposes of appeal. You know, there are a lot of you get for, because timely objections, if you let something come into the trial where prejudicial to your client, where you not object, it will hurt the client in the end, and you cannot use it as an appeal if you never objected to it during the trial. So there are a lot of things. We in America, now Salon are the only country where we say where you don't learn book, you get degree. Education not done for you. You don't need to learn anything else. You get all you know everything. Maybe Naime was so advanced. Naime Australian so advanced. We're number one at the world because we're too clever. We know we don't learn all the book. You get PhD, that's it. You don't need additional education. You're a doctor, that's it. You don't need no for improve your skill set. But in America, doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineers, nurses, we get what you call continuing education because education never finishes. It never ends. So we are required with the professionals then for take additional yearly continuing education. Because what you would miss, Sierra Leone, it doesn't matter that you're a lawyer. At the end of the day, in a service you do render, it doesn't matter that you're a doctor. Your skill set now for render service to the public. Okay? Basically, you just sell your skill. Just like a market, somebody in a market. You get certain goods or products. You go, you come up at the street side, you make your table, you try to convince people and say you get quality goods. So we, the intellectual service with the sell. Same thing. Okay? So if you not improve your mind, you not sharpen your skill, you just depend on that piece of paper where you get so many years ago, I don't see it. You know, and we're going to look at the trend of life. Because we, Sierra Leone, will get everything backwards. These are some of the things we need to look at. There is no proven evidence that a lawyer would have practiced law 20 years, no law or more law than a lawyer would only be a lawyer for 10 years or less. No way. You don't get any more knowledge than that guy because you get certain knowledge where you forget for take the bar exam for be called a practicing attorney or a barrister. So you're there within that level there. What differentiates you from the other? I don't know how many years you don't into practice. Now, how many years you don't actively engage in your skill set will distinguish you from other people than you feel. So there are a lot of things we can accept or we not can accept. But people need to know that so much has to be corrected in our system. Now, the question of, was the trip to New York necessary? In my humble opinion, the trip by the court to New York, was it necessary? I don't think so. What does the trip prove? And then, like Mr. Mengot mentioned just now, how can you have witnesses and there is nobody from the construction company that was actually doing the renovation? Nobody from that company seemed to have been involved. And to me, instead of talking about building expert or building engineer, it seemed more like an accounting problem because when we talk about disappearance of funding, of funds, this is not the thing we get for deal with building construction. Now, funds missing that was appropriated for the Chancery. So they can get all kind of experts we talk about the house. How does that prove fraud on the part of Samora Kamara and the other people there? Is it not the essence of the case, what happened with the money? Isn't that what we're talking about? So I am lost. When the court go to New York, they spend all that time there, they observe. What did they add to the substance of the case by going to New York? I don't see it. I may be wrong. You know, I don't think it proves the case any more than the ACC had proven their case in Freetown. So these are some of the things. So some ordinary people ask the question, say, what was the trip? And Mr. Fofana, the other lawyer, say, Mr. Bokari was a witness of, I think, by the court. Well, yeah, there's a thing called neutral witness, a witness who is not called by either the defense or the prosecution. The court can get an independent witness, like an expert. to come and testify for shed light on the whole process. Maybe Mr. Bokari was that kind of a witness. But that doesn't deprive the defense attorney for saying we might need him down the road. So let's not let the court release her right now because we might get some questions for him. Or there is another process in trial advocacy. There's another process called adverse witness. The defense can call any of the state's witness as their witness. When you call the state witness as a witness, that witness is generally referred to as an adverse witness because you can call him for get him for admit under oath certain facts where he cannot deny. Okay, so this thing about witness, and you can have an expert witness. So the man could have been both. He could have been a witness of the court, which generally we refer to as a neutral witness, because he was not there for the prosecution or for the state. I mean, for the defense, he was just there to shed some light on some kind of clarity that the court might have wanted. So there are so many nuances in trials. But the job of a defense attorney, you're like a boxer in the ring. You have to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. You cannot be a sitting duck. You know, you should be astutely prepared. You should leave no stone unturned. You should cross all your T's and dot all your I's. The prosecution could afford the laxity, but you can't because you get somebody in liberty as your protection. You know, to protect, not as your protection. You get somebody in liberty to protect. You get a much higher responsibility. So what I see, the trend in Sierra Leone, I don't know if these realities or responsibilities are being emphasized enough, because some of the cases they want me to see, like I able the trial of Mr. Kamarimba appear before a judge on a stretcher, which is a clear indication that he couldn't participate physically or mentally in his own defense, and he was still tried. What sort of lawyer will allow that to happen without raising hell? Without even trying to say, well, then you want to lock me up with my client because I'm not going to stand for that. What sort of lawyer? To come back and tell me Kamarimba's lawyer was such a bright, smart man, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I am not impressed with the quality of defense work being shown by some of their lawyers in Sierra Leone. Let's put aside all the BS. Go there and try to forget people and challenge the system. I'm going to take a call, but I want to bring to people's attention, because we have precedents in our country. One of my most admired criminal defense lawyer ever in the history of Sierra Leone was a man called T.S. Johnson. That man, a name for be not only the most famous name in the legal annals of a country like Bata Macaulay, who was definitely a great lawyer. He was a great prosecutor. He was a great defense lawyer. But somebody needs to go and read about T.S. Johnson and know the kind of lawyer he was. T.S. Johnson was the man in the 60s that APC party owed so much. He defended APC people who were being accused of all kind of thing from Freetown to Kwendu to the eastern boundary of Sierra Leone. From Koinadugu district, now the north, to the southern boundaries of Banff. He was there. But there is a renowned, I would say, a case called the State of Sierra Leone versus Kurubali. Kurubali. This was in the 1960s. Kurubale was a diamond dealer in the Bamakonta area who presumably was a Gambian. He denied being a Gambian. He said, "Na de parents didn't come out." Who openly, in broad daylight, killed a top police officer who was within the rank of superintendent and so forth. In the presence of eyewitnesses, kill him. And T.S. Johnson defended that man. And T.S. Johnson was a man who was not concerned about tribe or tribalism. Kurubale killed a Creole guy by the name of Grant. Mr. T.S. Johnson took Kurubale's case when no lawyer in Sierra Leone will defend him because he don't kill a Creole man, a Creole lawyer. I mean, a Creole police officer. T.S. Johnson said, "I will take the case. We do not need for bring lawyer from England for defend this man." He was charged with murder. T.S. Johnson took the case. Justice C.O. Cole was the judge. He fought like hell and get Kurubale manslaughter conviction. He is the best of criminal defense attorney I think Sierra Leone has ever seen. And this was a man who was willing to go to jail if the situation called for it, if the judge were railroad inclined. That type of advocacy not seem to exist in Sierra Leone anymore. But I'm bringing this up, so when I want to go into this legal profession, you shouldn't be timid. You should have conviction, unshakable conviction. If you want to be a member of this profession, you want to be the Douglas Marshall them, in America. The kinds of lawyers that will change America for the better. So let me answer a call from a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? I'll say the caller.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Abdullah Sissé, call from New Jersey, US.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sissé. Thanks for calling.
Yes, I'm just listening on the comments or the contribution of you, Mr. Shilon, Mr. Mengos, on the Chancery and the Chancery building. I just want to say I've been fortunate today on the first visit, and I get evidence for that. So they talk to part of the BOS network WhatsApp forum. I found a short clip there where you can comment on, based on which I developed some concerns, especially with the judge, the Honorable Judge Fisher. In a situation where the judge, even in the US now, a case where for any reason somebody suspects the judge gets an interest. I mean, sometimes without tangible evidence, yes, I understand. It makes sense. Not all information where somebody can listen to. But certain things and the way they happen during the trial, we go trigger people and thoughts for belief. See, or for at least believe, say, this judge gets some issues with this trial with regard fairness. I did it in person. I witnessed a couple of things. One, I did it with the judge gave an opening statement before they commenced the visit into the building, that then give a list of people, including members of the prosecution, the defense, way for go into the building. And amongst these people, amongst this list, or include the members of the press, the judge categorically states it's only going to be SLBC and AYV. Only, stress that word only, for go into the building. In other words, members of the public, including press, when anyone outside SLBC or AYV, were not allowed into the building. But my first concern was, at that point, somebody did a way we know say, now a very popular social media contributor, when I'm Memona Rappel, I believe some of them are aware of them, we know say now this government in interest, they always they propagate. She was there in my presence where the commissioner, Ben Kaifala, after the judge don't make this statement where I just mentioned, he lobbied the judge publicly and like publicly beg am say Memuna Raphael for be part of the team for go inside the building. And to my understanding, up to yesterday, I don't feel say Memuna Raphael na a government official. A based na UK. I don't know, when I will correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel see any evidence there right now saying a government official, except if it happened in the last couple of weeks. So then it's very troubling to me. Even when the judge don't give that order, the commissioner, they lobby the judge for allow this person for go inside the building. And we not say not been there for any reason for take pictures, if you get in camera and stuff. Then the other thing where I noticed, the judge asked the team, one of the lawyers of the defense, for in clients. This specifically are the suggest are the assume the fourth accused when Dr. Samoa Kamara. And the order now say all the accused for Didi. Now either then Didi or then representatives as it manifests at the point say some of the accused in this Sierra Leone they not be even witness, and including another one within a US we not witness. So why the judge for ask specifically for a particular one? You don't mention by name, but by asking a representative, the lawyer, about the client, where you know so a blanket question for all the missing ones, and besides the order not say so, then they've been very troubling to me. I'm just one point I'm out after the talk. I don't send that clip there. Now VOS WhatsApp forum. The technical team will play on phone now if they need be. So thank you very much.
Thank you. If I may just briefly reply, well, not to reply, just add or stress on what you had just finished saying. Some of this the caller in concern. You go blame the defense attorney. For example, if a reporter after the judge do say who that them for did it and who that enough for did it, it's a matter of which way you see it. If the defense attorney or attorneys them or lawyers them see say a beneficial to the interest of the client for that news posting they did it, maybe that's why they not object. Because I don't think the presence of that reporter there alone was prejudicial to the interests of the defendants then, because that's the main concern I have. What could prejudice the right? So if after the judge does say people are not for Dede, then this reporter Dede and she was allowed, either at the request of Mr. Ben Kefala, and the defense they're not opposed, you can't blame the judge, you blame the defense attorneys then, provided it harmed the client. But it may have been as a trust strategy, maybe they too had confidence in that reporter. They say if he did it, it will cast the client in a positive light. I cannot second guess the person, but you cannot attribute any fault to the judge or Mr. Kelfala, because Mr. Kelfala sees some advantage and they make the request, the other side no object, and then the reporter was allowed to stay there. I cannot, in any degree of sincerity, say you could blame the judge or Kelfala for that. The other thing is, from a purely trial standpoint, or it's a hearing standpoint, it's not unusual for a judge for ask the lawyer. Mr. Shillon, is your client in court? It's up to me for saying no, Your Honor, because I advised him not to be present. I didn't see the need for his presence. You didn't order that he had to be here. You can give the judge any kind of answer. Oh no, just simple no, you're not present. You cannot read too much into that, say because he asked just Mr. Samura Kamara in lawyer, without naming Samura Kamara. But let's say Samura Kamara he had in mind. I don't see any prejudice there at all, because if you're going to file an appeal, you can't file as one of your grounds of appeal that the judge asked, because the judge could have easily turned around and say, oh, I asked the lawyer simply because I didn't want to start the proceeding without in client denial, and I make an ask because I know to say I'm not seeing client. So I wanted to make sure, again, due process by him being here. So the absence of the client without the objection of the lawyer, we can't read much into that. So I just want to say that because me and think now for try for educate the public some of the nuances of a trial, some of the responsibility of a defense attorney. You know, the prosecution get a own, but to me, not to them I'm a concern. My concern is mostly the quality of defense some of these people are getting in some of the trials that I'm seeing. And I think I see a manifest injustice in some of the things. We're manding a stretcher, it'll go to trial, and a lawyer let that happen, you know, or when a person will not get no prior record, will not commit any violent crime. A judge to get 9 years based on what? There's, you know, not having a prior record, not having criminal record, it has to count for something. So these are some of the things me like foresee with lawyers and stand up for and bring out. Be an overzealous advocate for your client. So me on concern, I'm a focus down there. Let me answer one other caller, then I'll turn it over to my co-host. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you call from?
Good evening, Dr. This is Tony
Yes,
Mustafa
sir.
again from Leicester.
Mr. Mustafa, thanks for calling.
This case we really talk about, me, I get a different view from which I sum up from that. First of all,
Okay.
I think they want to, this visit all there for try to play with the emotions of people. Make people and see and say, oh, you see now, they give mortal money for go make building. You see that they don't take you money, they don't eat them. But this thing is not necessary at all. They could easily look to, because this money they are not transfer the money they are. They know who started transfer the money. They know that they issue the contract them to. They know already about everything about the money, who side the money go. This not money, all not transfer this money. What do you visit get for good day of 1,000 people go visit the building? They know the building was not constructed. They know it. That building they don't see them over and over. See the building not make them. Waiting they go waste people the money for go see the building. Me I can't understand. Eh? Secondly, I read from the SLPP wing them when they talk say, well, at least 500,000 something of that money been transferred during Samura Kamara in reign as foreign minister. But none of them is talking about the 4.6 million. And you see, that is why I see again the politicization of the case. All what they want to see now for name this man, say this man for contest election, period. Period. Because if you want to talk about it fairly, no, we talk about people who have eaten this money or mismanaged this money. Okay, we begin from all the foreign ministers, the whole long past they all should be in the dock. All of them should be in the dock. There is no way you go put one post way beyond the 10 years ago, where the one way recently, where the money transfer or some money transfer go there, you let them out. It cannot be something that you would tell me, say, I foresee don't a certain mode say, oh, this is a genuine process. This is bias. Nobody will encourage somebody say thief money or if Nakamura Kamara get money, he thief money there or whatever happened with your own administration, I don't know. But for the fact that some people were omitted, people that will be foreign minister where they say money go inside it. Now, even the present one, they hold the head of Chancery for the current administration. Why not the foreign minister? Why not the foreign minister? Or why not the ambassador himself? They go hold the Chancery. Man. So you can see they are trying to protect some people and other people are not protected. And this is emotional thing of trying to go and see let people. This is backwardness. We don't pass that stage day. Now we there a stage where we say money has been transferred. If you want to forfeit fraud, look who side this money go, who that get this name, who that take this money, they go know who that go withdraw. People who they working at the chance, you know who that get this name, who go withdraw this money. Period. Then you hold the people accountable. But for go make this Kabudu go now in New York, go make this drama, go see, like say they are interested in fighting it. This thing end up with so much. Because they try to play with put we behind, say we na salon people we own kind of justice, it is behind. We do and say the other can't see what did that man say? No, I know give me that money, you know, give me a money, not to me give. No, this money has been transferred. Trace the transfers. Who send the money then go, period, and then it takes close. For me, this one is very simple. Let them again proceed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mustafa. This just kind of buttress or add to arguments. You see, what you just say, so this is why a jury trial should be a fundamental right. Because imagine if you get ordinary people, a lot of people are raising the question, what was the need? So if you get 12 jurors or few peers in a jury, it's very easy for be able to convince them that than one judge. You know, than one. Two, you, Mr. Mustafa, as a matter of common sense, you don't have to be a lawyer. You just say, this is a case which to me too, as a lawyer, and as a lawyer with substantial trial experience, it's a case of more of documentary evidence than anything else. The visit to the location that is fancifully referred to as the locus in co. It's good for me to know say we all learn book, throw some Latin into the whole thing. And me too, I joined the majority of people who say it wasn't necessary. It proves nothing and more than what the ACC did not prove in court. Now, you concern what you just expressed. You don't blame, in fact, you don't blame the prosecution. You don't blame the judge. You don't even blame the government where they try to take undue advantage of the situation. That's why the fact that the case is in court, that's the time for show. That's show time. That's why defense attorneys are, and that's why they exist. At least this is a forum. So what did Mr. Mustafa just talk about, say why they're not call this and call? I don't think anything is stopping the defense attorneys for subpoena Ali Kaba, current ambassador, if there is any relevance, and anybody else. The defense has the latitude to subpoena another job. So, Mr. Mustafa, what you just say, it makes sense, but not to the government and responsibility. They're not going to subpoena them people if them people are not going to prove the case where the government want for proof, and the defense attorney in job. So, and lawyers in Freetown, they make good money. These guys are paid very well. Okay? So these guys are paid very well. So I think they just need to up the game and stand up for be so fearful and be so timid and stand up to the system. Because I use T.S. Johnson. When he entered the courtroom, you knew he was there to fight. He was not going to tolerate any crap from anybody. And being a defense attorney is such a powerful position. You just don't realize that then they say the state versus you, the defendant. This is the one whole country against you. That one man day. The only person working there for protect you, that lawyer day, that one lawyer day. That lawyer they get for no insignificance in that courtroom day. Say, if I'm out of this game, my client is gone. So when you get on your head and you believe, say, you can withstand the other side, then you go do a fantastic job. But I am trying to tell you, so all the points where you just make are true. But the defense, nobody's stopping them for subpoena, whoever they want for subpoena. If these people are relevant witnesses, or witnesses who will throw reasonable doubt in the case, you know. So that's not your answer. Make a turn it over to Mr. Mengot.
Yes, I don't listen to what people say. The name Memuna Rappel comes in. Just to clarify, Memuna Rappel is a social media activist within London. We just go there, and she's not a journalist. You just go there, in fact, people away in a post where you go outside for get video evidence for propagating view. But first of all, I would say shame to all the people, both prosecution, defense lawyer, because me and my way, I'm a planner and a safety activist. the building, you get notice they say hard hats must be worn on site. So all the people that will go inside that building, none of them will get hard hats. In fact, it became comical because I heard the ACC commissioner said he in tweet say, when they can talk about Arata, he meet Arata at the building, we're so big enough for attack him. So he was like, they're joking after this whole thing. No. But let's come back to the whole situation. Somebody even say, let left the law, let it taking cause. Yes, we left the law, let it taking cause. We expect the law for taking cause. Wait me and my colleague, they do now. We know they argue the merits of the case. We they look at procedures, lapses, and strategy for handle this case. And that's what they look. So we don't prejudice the judge in judgment. He don't go there, and I know why he go there. You know the reason why he go there for the local school. We are not questioning him. What we ask no more is to say, was this visit necessary? Because if not building, you go look. You can go with a building expert, right? Unless you go on sightseeing. Let's come back to the whole, because when you do an analysis, you have to come back to the genesis, as we can say, how it all began. First of all, shame on our country. And why I say shame on our country, if we can spend 5 million for go play football in Cameroon, we'll win one game and make a lot of noise. Why we not get 5 million for repair we own building at the Chancery, na New York? When I like we us, it a portray with image. For God's sake, we got to go to Chinese for good money. Let me look at, I do investigations, not on criminal, but even when I do accident investigations, we look at timeline and sequence. And that's how I let people consider in this case. Right. It was around 2016, as we know, the government of the day request to the Chinese them for let them help with. They agree for give the money. Then will support we. As we know, it was discussed in cabinet. And that discussion in cabinet, it was led by the then foreign minister, who is Samuel Kamara, who is one of the accused. And how does governance work? Because one of his charges is that deceiving a principal. The principal in this case is government through cabinet. So if somebody go to cabinet, he is with his colleagues, discuss an issue of that matter, and it was approved, then it satisfies the doctrine of collective responsibility. You cannot hold an individual for that. That is my own view. I could be challenged on that. Then let's look at when the money was transferred. They also talk about procurement. Even if, when you handle procurement, you get a national procurement authority. The quick question will ask, were they involved? If then, did they give you the clean bill of health? Was the procurement, it meets with standard? If that procurement they meet with standard, and the procurement authority then pass on to, then they bear the greatest responsibility. Next, we have to look at who selected the contractors. Was it open, transparent? These are some of the issues that judge for the ask. Did somebody seek pecuniary advantage for get a contractor? Or did that person benefit from awarding the contract? If so, how? What was the benefit? Was there an abuse of office? That's the question. Well, let's go back to the timeline again. We are told that 4.6 million was transferred during the present government. We don't in a power 4.5 years, right? And even Ben Kelfala, the SEC commissioner, mentioned, say, a prominent government official, when they transfer the money, put it in a personal account. And he been shortchanged the government. And they don't get time for pay back that money there. So why is that person not standing the dock? Because you not follow due process. The next thing, when you get a project of that nature there, of this nature, you forget a plan, a renovation plan. Because the center for renovate the building and add 2 more floors. So when you get a plan there, now from there you get your bill of quantities and decide how much it will cost for do that building there. Then the next thing you get the government side, where in this case, now the government of New York, well, the state of New York. And from waiting and showing the building permits, waiting a building permits. Now then country here, whenever you are renovate your house, whether in addition or you want to change the structure, you get to apply to the state government, in one case in England, to the local authority, then give a building permit. So that building permit was issued on the 11th of February 2021. The 11th of February 2021. That was when they issued the building permit, which means nothing had happened prior to that date. Because without the building permit, you cannot continue with the building. So from when this new government came of power from 2018 to 2021, you have a 3-year lapse. What happened within that 3 years? Were any money transferred? Who was dealing with the contractors? How much was the contractor paid? And how much work was he required to do? Because the building permit also, it gets an expiry date, which is the 11th of 08/2021. So it means from the estimation, that works there, the total building works for take place in 6 months. What they should be looking at, what happened during that 6 months they were and get a building permit stay. Was anything done? If so, by whom? Then also you get, after nothing no day, you get a prohibition order, which means them for stop work. Yeah? So if they get for stop work, from the time they stop that work day to now, what has happened? The money when they transfer goodie, is it still intact? How much they not spend since this new administration take place? Are the construction companies still owed money? I'm sure if you go to those sequence of events, then more importantly in a project like this, the head of Chancery, yes, it's like the permanent secretary of the mission. Now they're in charge of administration. For God's sake, we have a contractor. A project like this, we could have had a project manager. We have Salone Institute of Engineers. You can get an independent project manager who will manage the process. Was that provided? Because without a project manager, the project manager now for monitor the construction works, make sure say he do according to the plan we then give. So I'm giving you this based on my knowledge of planning, building control, and how you operate when it comes to project management. So it's not just for say people embezzle money. right? Misappropriation of funds. The judge should also be concerned about the sequence of events, the poor management of the whole building process, and all them people and they're accountable. So I think I will stop there. For now, I don't give my own points based on the evidence. We will see. Both from the government side and from the man who have been the whistleblower when I turn about. And finally, my own question I want to ask again. It's a bit controversial. What is the role of the ACC commissioner in all this? He took part and started investigation after a whistleblower, which is the same Chernobyl who is being vilified in elsewhere. Now he starts. He collects the evidence, he's selecting witnesses. 18 witnesses don't go through. He even talks to one of them, don't dismiss. When that Mr. Bokari, where there's a controversy of whether it was a witness or an expert. So he don't get nothing for doing the case again. Now he don't bring the case. What till they go do in New York and they go give interview? The people they wait for the interview na the judge. What is his business been there? Unless he's looking for fresh evidence for reopening the case. Because as far as I know, Mr. Shilo, when the legal expert will correct me, in any trial, once the prosecution has finished their case, it is now up to the defense for do their own part. The investigation will get no business for come back into it. And that's my own point of view. And I left my case. Over to you, Mr. Shilo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mengot. Let me take a call. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where side you call from? Hello, caller.
This is Fode Mustafa again. I just want to make a follow-up what I hear you say, Mr. Shilo.
Yes, sir.
I talk about Ali Kaba because the ACC man, even when Mr. Mengot asked the question now about the ACC, if you make a press conference, he listed all the people and what you don't interview, who involved in this scandal. You don't call those people. I talk about Ali Kaba or other people the way you protect. Because in the same vein, like we don't bring Samura Kamara and other people them show, if we don't bring the other people them, now what he say? He say he try for recruit money from people the way he say he the name later, where you know name. At the man on the back, the way they talk about the laptop them and that COVID audit. Now he talks the people that don't pay the money back from the laptop. He say he reveal their identity in due course till today. About a 2 years already so. He not reveal them anymore. So I'm trying to talk about the ACC because now bring the case to the court. Now this is a case where the ACC bring a court. So now I mention. So I will refer to the ACC. Notice you say the defense for even point them out. But I'm telling you, inside that court as a loan show. Any case where get government interest, you bring them that they will dismiss that if not the defense think out them. We don't see him plenty times. If not defense think out them. Please, because look at this thing. This man is going to be convicted, whichever way he's going to be convicted. I mean, if you're not convicted, I'll be surprised. He's going to be convicted in this case. Now, they not put zero there. I told you the last time. This minister, I may call him the man who had the law. Baba Tunde, I don't know his name again. They not allow for jurors for let them make judgment in that. Now the court judges were appointed by the government. Now then they make these things. Now then they make this judgment. That judge when they talk about, so he already get judgment. He just want to do these things to make people see the procedure. But I'm telling you, if not to the post, then go nail them directly. See, then the main. They go put them maybe the side for making a cow say, oh, this man, because this man when this case come up, let me remind you again. If he talk say I read 9 months, he talk say this case for them August 2022. Now they finish this case. So now before that time, then maybe they wait for let them make flag bearer business. August 22 now it say they expedite the case, but in 2 months time they are going to hold election. You will expect this man for the left the campaign. He didn't court every day for who listen to case. This is not the thing that is why they talk about selective justice. I mean, Put this there, all the people that were involved, put them in front there, let them all fight it out. Let everybody will get for pulling in commodity, let pulling in commodity. But you cannot do this. Even the ACC commissioner is very selective in the way they count the people that are caught. This mouth will not be open, say, all the foreign ministers they are so the for go na court for go defend themselves, which part they play. But this now so now they have to try for now me just buttress again for tell you I mean say the ACC commissioner and anchor of this case and he call people them some people he left out some people them. That's what I just want to point out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustafa. Now, I get your point. Waiting may point where to make, and I hope you will appreciate them to some extent. We can see the unfairness, but I just to point out, say, the ACC commissioner may not have brought them people here only because they're not going to prove any on side of the case. So he only bring the one there where he thinks, say, go help in case. So me to simply say, but all is not lost. The case is supposedly still ongoing. That's why Mr. Samuel Kamara and the other defendants then get lawyers. That's why this case then a court. I think earlier Mr. Mengot says somebody comments, one of we watchers them comment say, let the case in a court, let it play itself out. I agree with that. But the case is not going to be able to play itself out if the defense attorneys them are timid. If they not get the courage of conviction for standing grounds. If they are worried about intimidation. So otherwise the defense attorneys then get plenty of time provided they intend for go forward with the defense. Because to me understanding, at this stage of the case, what really has happened, they made a no-case submission, meaning when the prosecution rested, they by trial practice, they had to make a no-case submission. Even if the prosecution presents a flawless case, the defense attorneys and the job that need for making no-case submission. And 90%, you don't always have to, but not then job that one day. So there are opportunities. So all the people where you name so, where Ben Kelfana not bring, the defense can subpoena them as defense witnesses or as adverse witnesses for elicit or for extract out of them the degree of involvement. So all is not lost. The defense attorneys can do a whole lot if the case is continuing some more. That's my point. So many again the problem with you mentioning Ali Kaba. I think a good defense attorney may call him if he thinks, say, he will prove the case or he will prove the point you want to make. Okay. Also, I hope the caller can bear with me. There's also Mr. Mengot made a couple of observations which are also important, but this is all what the defense has to do. He said, was the Office of Procurement involved? Because under governmental structure and procedure, their money then the Office of Procurement for being involved. And if they were involved, what are they saying? And if they were not involved, why weren't they? That's very important. The defense gets an opportunity for argue, then point here and bring that up. Because I will not forget, for saying a court of law, based upon the common law system, everything premises on reasonable doubt. And even if I were a defense attorney before Judge Fisher alone, I will remind him that he is not sitting on that case only as a judge, he is sitting on the case also as a jury. So he gets to take certain matters into account from the perspective of a jury. Yeah, he's there to rule on the law, but he cannot just kick aside the facts. So if the defense presents overwhelming evidence that the clients were for raise reasonable doubts, then the clients are not guilty, a judge not get the laxity of overlooking that. Somebody has to point that out to him when they address the court. For say judge sitting as a jury and as a judge, I can appreciate your position, your perspective of the case this way. But also you're playing a dual role here. You're also a jury. So as a jury, you can't ignore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the doubts that we raise. You see, that's what advocacy is all about. So I think it's bad enough that some of these cases are being tried by judge alone. I think therefore put into the Australian Constitution the fundamental right of a jury trial. It's very important. Now, one of the biggest omissions in our Constitution. Otherwise, what we'll be doing is not promoting justice, we will promote gross injustice. And I think it's protect everybody. You know, it ties the hands of a government for politically go after people. You know, so we therefore rise above this political party politics. This is what is killing us, of which these two parties, when are two sides of the same coin, have gotten us into, and a lot of we not able to come out of that. We can't see things any other way, past APC way or SAPP way. But I'm telling you, the structure this is like a house with a bad foundation. We structure bad, we political structure was intact with the Waitman left and give we don't chisula, we don't crack them, we don't do this, and we continue for do harm to them. Then we expect the best for come out of it. It doesn't work like that. Now with duty for improve them, you know, for fortify them, and unless we take the system serious, you know, it's easy. The easy part of our government now, when you get the power for trample over everybody in right, shut everybody down, you know, imprison people. But you know, it happens. We see it happening in other countries. Right now, Senegal is going through their own thing, where the president and the country say want to do third term. What's wrong with these guys? You know, how can you put yourself above a country like that? You know the thing, but next generation. So Senegal is going through that right now. Senegal, one would think, say, should have been a bright example. So this is why I keep telling people, whether you're in SAPP or whether you're in APC, do not trust politicians. They get an ulterior motive at all time. Okay? They get into power. Power become too sweet, way more than they expect. They are not going to want to leave. America, yeah, will get we on Christmas. Mr. Trump. We see how we almost want to destroy a system that has withstood the test of time for over 230 years. One man, a camp, for his own selfish reason, they want to try for destroy what you know withstand the test of time for 200. This is politicians for you. They go come in all forms. You know, then go come as businessmen, then go come as non-politicians. But believe me, you always get to treat them with suspicion. And if you do that, then you go be a good citizen. But all these people to do so will no one for rise above. I mean, just look around the world. Just look in America here. People are so excited, this and that. Mina SAPP, Mina APC, fine. God bless you all. But I know for sure, these two political parties, I'm sure as I know today is Sunday, are incapable of doing anything good for Sierra Leone. These two parties. The capability is not there. These are all compromised people with no integrity. The leadership I'm talking about, there are some in the rank and file who, given the opportunity, will do well. But let me stop there because we'll also get another caller, so I don't like to keep the callers then in suspense for too long. But so let me ask the caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you call from?
Yeah, Mr. Shilon, this now Mustafa again from
Yes, sir.
France.
Thanks for calling again.
I really appreciate you comment where they make. But I just want to give some few points on my own view. You see, would they blame the politician? They would blame the politicians then. But I believe say, una we study the bar. Now we problem. These people we go learn law. Now the biggest problem na salon. And everything they talk, we can blame politician and no more. Trust me, Donald Trump na a politician, but because of he need a system in America, and they will ban him. If he been get the possibility for ban him, for being ban him, because
he tried.
Get judge the way appoint, where they rule against him. But Salon, why we not capable? We never get that type of people and they what they put the country before. They put their selfish interest before. Like people like Justice Abraham Fisher or so-called ISF. All political case, all case they win a problem. If not to Abraham Fisher, na Anaboni. Now then two no more na judge or magistrate than a salon. What the other one there? And then they endanger the country. Then they really they dig big hole for innocent lawyers them, innocent magistrates them. We're really independent. Just then to the day. Since this government can have power. From where you see them call one other one, they are forgetting name. We rule against them 11 members of parliament them. Government in, government out, the judiciary it just a portal. It's so disgraceful. You know, because we know the integrity, that's what they say integrity. Now we lack in a salon. People only care for their pocket and their family. They not care the after effect. That you family name. Like somebody like Edgar Fisher now. When not one of the hated man then as alone, hated magistrate then as judge or magistrate, I don't know in position. Nasalon. Because you go look young man. Because of ego sentence possible with no evidence, no clear evidence for say, even a blind man in the past judgment for LJ in case. Even 1 weekend herself. But in the past, it parabolate because it take and say in any immediate families them, he get the immediate family in America. Him now any moment he can jump from or go. You not get family name for guy. You not get integrity for save. You need to think about tomorrow and say you get for die. Anyway, the thing about who say one talk about salon. Salon you only pass mark. A past topic. May God bless you now for this wonderful program again once more.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your contribution. Always feel free for call. Always feel free for express yourself. One for remind we listeners them that we know they take positions with us to try for highlight certain flaws, weaknesses of the process as it exists and as it has existed for quite a while. So nothing that is happening today with the court system is anything new. It's been going on for a while. But if we're serious about our country, the one that would entrust their responsibility for really try to grab the bull by the horn, let will change the course. Because things can only get worse. So let me take another call. We're approaching the end of we broadcast. They say time flies when you're having fun.
I think we've gone overboard now because it's my past.
Yeah, so let me take one call and then we're going to shut down. Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's the call from?
Yes, sir. Good evening from your side. I call from France.
Yes, sir. Thanks for calling. Please turn down your.
Thank you. All right.
Turn down your TV or your radio.
Please turn them down for me. Hello. Yes. Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, sir. My own contribution this night really concerning the bad, the people, the dishonest people out in the good position in that country. Just like the other callers say, we blame the politicians, but same way, so people out in they put in positions, they know they try for defend their own integrity. They know they care about them. Family blames them for say, like for example, let's say what happened in America when people in renowned Bush name for say they contest for elections. They always what they come with them that Iraq and that Afghanistan. Same way Sierra Leone, right? Certain things in the way they happen. Like, for example, the way how this president, with this report, this human rights report now, we don't occur now, so we don't write about Sierra Leone. Let's say when in there for go out of power, maybe if you get a second term, or if it just come out of power after this first term. By the time they come on power, when people in the area another bio again for say they come na power, what thing will come at their mind? Now this president bio. Say, then why they get human rights violation problem and all the rest of it. Same goes to this Fisher. Same goes to the other people who don't hold prominent positions in this government. Where it be said, they try to be honest for past justice. Where it be say, they know they do them selectively. So that's not a big problem in Sierra Leone. I'm afraid, even if this man lost election, then another party take over. I believe say not everything will just slide, they will just snap on the carpet like that. You understand? Like for example now, this airport, where then they talk about either new or terminal. This where then they talk about 270 millions. You know, the grudge you go on and say, okay, now they count estimation. Experts the way they can estimate for see if really this worth 270 million. What we go say? And if we continue, I'm afraid the country, if politicians and if government in government out continue on this, I don't see progress for that country yet. Because within these 4 to 5 years, we not see much at all. Now just palava no more, palava business for grudge and no more. We don't know who grudge come out. You understand? At least if you thief. But let the people get peace at the country. When I get chance for commodity, it can get a better life outside. They go get a better life outside. The one the way they better get them peace, at least better than they get what they eat. But this kind of way they go on, so it really hard ending. And we're afraid. Some of them they outside there. So if this thing also continue, then anything for the under, now more pressure on we. Now I make them the blame, they say diaspora. They say with the insight. But we know the insight. Now because we they enjoy democracy na decide the way we dey. Now it make once make the same thing be that country dey. And most of them way they so then a part of we trade. The other thing again now this double C more than they talk about. I believe in the problem. Most of them then get citizenship na then other country they also. When them go Poland and go just jump inside plane, then Canada. But because if you don't say you're not a politician, we be say now only Sierra Leone passport you get for go for visa before you travel. I believe say nobody do all kind of that thing, then left the people in a problem. If anything happen right now, Fisher, the next day, the other reporter, pass a tweet say they America or a tweet say they London. You understand? If you get for tweet safe, that the rest, the masses, then they suffer. You see? So that's a million contribution. Now, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. The control room was asking us if we can please take one more call. I don't know if the caller still is on the line. Is the caller still on there? Otherwise, yes, is the caller. If the caller is still on the line, yeah, we can take this one call quick, and that will be the very last. Hello, caller. Hello.
Hello, viewers. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, this is Abdullah again from New Jersey, Mr. Shillon. Yeah, I've been on the line for some time now on something everyone push on, where you say that these two parties not mean any good for Sierra Leone and they're not good for Sierra Leone. I respect the opinion, but sometimes that's what I've been the feel some time ago. But after some time, I don't study the political situation of Sierra Leone. One thing I want to point out that the executive branch of government, the presidency, now the most powerful, whether not by virtue of the constitution now, I don't see the constitution give enormous powers, but there are some limitations as well. We know the same for work. We look at that situation, they find out, say, if just the leadership of the executive now with government system or with political system in Sierra Leone serious about fixing Sierra Leone, you and me will agree, say yes, Sierra Leone will be fixed for good. Because if the president is ready, even if the parliamentarians are not ready, the president can bulldoze in way for fix Sierra Leone. Even if the judiciary is not ready, the police not ready, the military not ready, the president get enormous power for bulldoze in way for fix Sierra Leone. So on the other hand, because of an enormous power, if we get a reckless leader, we main aim now for better incest and close our people them. We don't happen from 1961 to date, as far as I am concerned, in a disadvantage because he gets all these powers. So again, I look and say these two parties, they don't date from 1961 to date. So that's a point of argument where convincing somehow say, if 1961 to date, the country not better, then two parties they will be deserved, then get a blame, then get a portion of the blame. However, I look and see the individual members then are then parties there. Some of them, in fact, don't revolve. They don't move from one to another, then they crisscross all the time. These are the people, including the presidents then, that then party are. We are feel say if they're sober-headed, now then we will fix situation at Sierra Leone. So that said, me always don't take them. Contrary to what you say, it's not the parties that get this problem for Sierra Leone in fixing. Rather, now the individual members then we don't serve in leadership positions, but then two parties here. I say that one reason of that, the most powerful democracies in the world, the US and the UK, then they practice, maybe they call it two-party system, I have to say, democratically, technically, not to say it be, but not two-party system, practically. Yes, and I don't get any reason to blame the people there for that. We get independent parties that don't come up by the US, but they're not ever show any weight. I believe it's a similar thing that happened in the UK and other places. But these are the two parties. So if Sierra Leonean they look at these two parties as the party system, we then recognize. And if you say to me personally, now the party, now the issue, now the members them, with the very Sierra Leoneans them, they always elect or make a choice for letting serve in leadership position. So that said, as far as I'm concerned, this is now one of the hope where members of the NGCs may get that a third force will help solve the problem. But let's say a third force come. Who send the pool members that we get for work? Now from them two parties who all the cry down, I didn't forget them because we look at the people who help campaign for NGC, PMDC. Now from them two parties here. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying that the party didn't get the problem. I want to spend time more for criticizing very individual staff. So if we call them out, that's the problem. In addition to educating with general public of the fact, say, it's not the party by name, but the people that we did it, they're not serious. So now they will get for take with time for putting in office. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your suggestion. And many thanks. We don't reach the end of a program. I would have liked to comment, but I don't want to add any more to the time because my co-host, Usai Day, where the broadcast from, where John Whip and this broadcast is 7 hours ahead of we now. So it's way passing bedtime. You know, it's about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So for that reason, I go make a note. I go comment. I go comment to. I go make a response to what you say. There's a lot I have to say, but as a courtesy to my co-host, we'll go end it right here. So thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate our dedication in listening to us and making our own contribution. So until we meet again next week, goodbye. I don't know if my co-host, Mr. Mengot, if you want to say goodbye to them.
Well, I will just say family and goodbye. 3 weeks now at the broadcast from the Horn of Africa. So hopefully I'm looking forward to going back to this in the UK. Without if we're extending conversation, giving the time, we'll go in and scare ourselves because we know say this topic we'll do today, it brings a lot of things to the ground and blow a lot of mind, and we appreciate all the people. So thank you very much and have a peaceful evening.